So this is what I'm planning on making a mould of. I'm gonna replicate this stag's head made from my friend Kat, who is a sculptor, absolute artist, and I plan to replicate this, so stick around to see how I do that.
Subscribe to Daddy Smack Plastering.
The last mould we made was of the YouTubers awards button. Just sort of made one up. Fancied a bit of a 10k award for ourselves, and also we did previous that as well. We've done plenty of wee moulds and stuff scattered amongst the channel. If you do want to find them, I'll try and make up a playlist and let me know in the comments. I'll make a playlist and drop it to you. Also, you know, if you dig deep enough in the channel, you'll find them. But we also did this T-Rex skull as well, amongst some other things. So back to the point of the video, making a copy of this stag's head, and I'll show you the way I did it. So the silicone we used was a 50-50. It's part A and part B, and then you mix them together, and that's what creates them to set off. I think the B is the catalyst and the A is the silicone. Well, they're both the silicone, but you need the two parts for them to actually set off and cure, so that will actually go to a solid. But yes, by no means am I the best at making moulds, not yet anyway. And the best fibrous hand plasterer there ever was. Probably won't be either, but yeah, so currently actually learning from a couple of brilliant fibrous plasterers at the minute, and to be honest, they would know, they probably have forgotten more than I know about mould making and fibrous plastering, so I can't be learning off anybody better. And with all that being said, just sort of go through all the parts that I am doing here. I have just went ahead and poured some silicone on and brushed it on nice and gentle, as what I'm actually replicating here is clay, and time is definitely of, you know, I want to get this done quick, as I don't want the clay drying out and cracking, so I'm trying to get the silicone on quickly. And you'll notice I don't have the walls of the box on just yet. I haven't even made them. And if you are going to play with silicone, guys, you should probably wear gloves, and also, you know, any glove or any brushes or pots you do use, they're probably going to end up in the bin, so don't be using your favourite painting pot for any means. So I'm just really trying to build up the silicone on all the details, and really working it from the top down. I've got everything coated, brushed on lovely so far, just a wee bits of excess along the sides. You just want to pour them back onto the high spots, because it will run down onto everything lower anyway, as you can see. So basically there's no need to prime anything. The silicone won't stick to any of what I'm doing here, but depending on what you're doing, certain types of woods, anything grainy, you might want to actually sort of seal it and grease it up to stop the silicone actually soaking into all the wee particles and locking in. You'll not be able to release it. You will find I do a couple of things in here that I actually do in hindsight wish I never did, and some things I wish I had did earlier, but we'll get to those. So I then knocked up my box after a coat on this, and that was just to stop the silicone really pouring away. I kind of would have rather doing that a bit earlier, but again, like I said, I was fighting time, didn't want my clay drying out anymore. I wanted to really get the silicone done quick and get a replicated done. One of the things I kind of regretted was actually using canvas on this particular mould anyway. I know obviously this canvas will give my silicone more strength, but it kind of proved to be very difficult to actually get to stay down. It wasn't soaking the silicone in greatly, Eventually did get it down, as you'll see during the video, but it took me a lot more effort than I thought was worth. And I think I could have saved some silicone for something else, other than having to try and keep bedding up to beat the canvas. As you will see, this I do pour after pour. So the two things I would have changed would have been I would have knocked up the box maybe a wee bit quicker, but then at the same time I was fighting time with the clay, and I definitely would have skipped the canvas part for this little mould. Again, I know it is going to add great strength to it, but I don't think it needed particular great strength because there wasn't really any undercuts or anything. It's quite flat, so I don't think it was a real necessary thing to have. I just think it would have been just a bit easier without the canvas in to brush and layer up. As you can see, I'm layering up rightly, and I am getting up over the canvas, but like I said earlier, I would have practically been done by this stage if I didn't put the canvas in. I actually have a nice bed on it already. Do remember, guys, if you are doing this, that every brush you use is a throwaway brush, so don't be getting expensive ones to do something like this. Get cheap ones that you're going to chuck away. But yes, so I'm just really trying to make sure there's no jaggy bits that will snag my plaster case. I'm going to put a plaster case on this, quite a solid one, as I don't want any movement when I go to put my plaster into the actual silicone mould when it's done. So previous to this stage, guys, I am pouring the plaster in. I did another couple of layers of silicone. You can see some from making light actually in the silicone, where I just wanted to beef it up over the top of a couple of wee voids and wee bits that snag this plaster that I'm now pouring in. And I also caulked the edges of the box just to save a big mess of plaster everywhere. And you can see that's very creamy plaster. You don't want it too wet, and you don't want it too creamy either, or it won't flow. So now is the moment of truth. Also greased up the box, by the way, otherwise it never would have separated. I never did grease the timber, that's why I'm cutting the edges here. I'm also trimming my silicone. And can anybody guess the tool that I'm using to cut around the edges with? I'll be surprised if many get that question. So what is that little tool I'm using to cut the edges? I'm going quite gentle at this, as when you first sort of demold something, you're always not too sure whether or not it worked. You're hoping you've done all the steps beforehand right, but sometimes you just don't know to the very end. And that's the stage I'm at. You also don't want to rip the silicone at this stage, especially, as I said, I never really bothered to do any release agent on the actual wood, as it's like a laminate finish, so I presumed it would release well. And moment of truth, there we are, came out in one piece. I also wasn't sure what way the clay would come out as well, so obviously inside it's still a bit dirty. Cast one in and see if I can clean it out, and let us know whether or not this was a success. So this was the very first one in, guys. Quite a block of plaster, but it's not too heavy, but it's doing the job that it wanted. Nice and sturdy. Again, I can demold this a lot better now. I've put a couple into this just to test it. This is the first time I've actually put a plaster cast into it and demolded it out. So again, not 100% sure on the best way of it going to work. Everything's sort of theory until you do it a couple of times, and then you start to figure out the easiest and the best ways and methods to release it. And let's see how well I replicated the stag's head. You can be the judges. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. there it is in all its glory. But yeah, I'll let you guys be the judges of how much detail I captured from the cracking mould that Kat made. And that dirt's just the clay that came off on the silicone. Obviously, if I cast another one out, it'll be even cleaner looking. So just want to thank Kat again for actually making the stag's head for me. Very, very good job. Also want to thank the company that sent the silicone. I'll drop their links in the description. Want to thank Paul and Comic for the music they've been making for the channel recently, and of course the camera woman Emma. So big thanks to them, and obviously to all yourselves guys for watching, especially to the very end. And why not watch more? There's plenty of videos to choose from.